Then you have to take out all the pins and put all of them again. It is impossible for you to correct that with this fixator. How much translation can you get in the sagittal plane? How much translation can you get in the sagittal plane?
There is a posterior sac and
I know, but how much translation? Not much usually, because if you got significant translation, you will know that my pin is not holding the bone at all. So that will happen. This is a theoretical question. So much translation can not happen, and I have all my pins together. When after you put in your first two pins and you are putting any of the second, the third or fourth pin, you will find either it's not holding, means I can't feel the bone at all, or when you drill normally, you feel one cortex, then you feel the give, and then you feel the second cortex. You will not feel that. You will feel just going through one cortex. So at that time itself, you will come to know that something is wrong. Go into a lateral, you will see your hole is absolutely on one side.
Are these docking problems less with this, or are they equal as compared to Elyzarov? Docking problems.
Yes.
Do you find this fixator gives less of docking problems?
You are from Pune, so I can't give you that example. Otherwise, if you are from Bombay, I would have said, if you are going in a Mercedes and if you are going in a Maruti SX4, will you feel the potholes in Bombay's road less? No. There's no roads in Bombay now. There's all potholes. But point is that whether you are using the Elyzarov or the rail, the docking problem is independent of. This is only the motor which is you are using to push or pull the fragment.
Like in Elyzarov, we used to pass a wire so that it is guided properly.
I have never used a wire to pass to guide it properly.
So in this case, is this fixator good enough to guide it properly?
No, even the Elyzarov is good enough to guide it.
Yeah, I know.
So meaning that is it strong enough? Will it if it is aligned properly when you put it on? The problem with Elyzarov when you do a transport is what? If you got such a large gap and you got a small fragment there, small fragment here, and you don't aim it properly, your fragment was already like this. You put your proximal fragment like this and distal fragment like this. So by the time this fellow comes down, he's there. So if you aim it properly, if your alignment is proper, then with the Elyzarov also you shouldn't have a problem, and with this also you shouldn't have a problem.
But sir, if periosteum intact while doing the corticodocking, you sever it. And what about the rotational?
I keep the periosteum perfectly intact. Not even one cell is injured of the periosteum. That's like when I was a lecturer in KEM, we got this thing arthroscope with the full video and all that. Before that video set came, every boss used to do arthroscopy. वो दिख रहा है medial meniscus? Yes sir. वो देखा? Yes sir. After the this thing camera came, all the consultants stopped doing arthroscopy. So same way I am telling you that yes, I keep the periosteum intact. You don't know what I am doing inside. I elevate the periosteum and I try to protect it as far as is possible. But certainly I must be causing some element of damage.
But while giving the tension at that side, we can injure this periosteum at that side.
That's what I am saying. Yes, you can. But you try and protect it as far as is possible. Now you are saying that by distracting you will injure. Suppose I don't distract and I do rotational osteoclasis, or you do, suppose you do rotational, can you swear and say that it will not get injured? No. So we have to try and keep it to the minimum. That's the idea. Of course, periosteum heals fast. Yeah.
So what is the post-operative weight-bearing protocol?
What is the?
Post-operative weight-bearing protocol.
You should tell me. Nilesh was working with me in KEM, so he should tell us now. Post-operative weight bearing, with this, what I do is weight bearing as touchdown initially. I personally don't think that there is a big deal to full weight bearing. A lot of us come and stand on the stage and say, I did infected non-union, I did Ilizarov, and patient was full weight bearing on day 2. And the really good ones will say, I did the operation in the morning and patient was full weight bearing in the evening. Yeah, I know, but so what is the big deal? He still took 4 months to heal. He still took 3 months to get back to work. So, I conceptually, as long as I am manipulating something, pulling it apart, pushing it together, I don't see any big advantage in full weight bearing. So, I say touchdown weight bearing while some manipulation is going on. As soon as that manipulation is over, for example, transport, once it is touching, then they can start full weight bearing. Because patients, all said and done, they are a little worried about, or there is certainly pain. None of these procedures is entirely painless. But when the situation is stable, then it becomes automatically painless.
When you avoid doing corticotomy more towards diaphysis, do you put pins more to subarticular or something like that?
Shan's pins I don't put subarticular because that bone is not terribly
Exactly
good.
subarticular. Do you
The
go
most
closer to the joint?
The most proximal pin that I would put is at the level of the tip of the fibula.
Tip of the-
That's the most proximal,
That
and
is the
therefore that dictates where the last pin will
Corticotomy
come,
goes
and
down.
that dictates where the osteotomy will come, and the osteotomy is almost always diaphyseal. It's not
For H2O, you will go for T type of thing.
Yes, HTO is a different sort of ball game.
Thank you. And there you will go to dead coronal rather than oblique.
Yes, there you go more medial.
Intra-articular, suppose by chance there will be infection, the infection will go to the joint.
So how often do you face problem with the union docking side?
How often do you face problem with union at the docking site?
So by the time the bone is transported, it already closed, the ends are closed. And how do you what's important? And also there is something
Soft tissue interposition, yes. Sclerosis is not an indicator of avascularity. That's number one. But if there is soft tissue interposition, then I would excise that soft tissue en bloc, freshen the bone ends, and put it together. I would say probably about 30% of the time that we do a transport, we have a problem like this. 60 to 70% of the time, we get it to heal. Especially if there has been say an infected non-union or something, then you are going to debride that area. So you freshened up the edges. There is no more avascular bone left. So that transported area just comes and once it is in contact, you put it under compression, then there is not a problem. But the point is that if at all you have a problem, or if at all you are worried, I don't think there is any harm in excising the intervening soft tissue, freshening the bone, and putting in bone graft. It is not against the religion of Ilizarov to open. Ilizarov doesn't mean no incision surgery. You have to treat a non-union on its merits.
If there is a failure of union at the fracture site, but even after bone transport,
Yeah,
how do you manage? Do you
that's what you excise that soft tissue, freshen the bone, and bone graft it.
keeping the fixator? Or
Yes,
you
no, keeping the fixator. Why hasn't it united? That's the question.
that is exactly. I had a case recently. Somebody came with this fixator, L fixator. It was an open fracture of the femur. Well, probably they removed the portion of the bone also. We had about 3 centimeter shortening also. But they could manage to impact docking of the fragments with the fixator. And he continued to have pain at the fracture site, and of course mobility was not there, not much of, I cannot demonstrate mobility even after removing all the fixator also. So what we did, we removed the fixator and put a interlocking nail with a bone graft at the fracture site, and it got united. That is exactly, of course, I didn't have much of experience with this rail fixator system. But he came as a non-union femur, even with the fixator, and he used for almost 8 months. 8 months he waited. That
But
is
fixator was otherwise all right. There was no problem with the pin
no
sites
problem
and
with
all.
the fixator. There was no pin track site infection. No, the problem was there. Only the fracture didn't unite. So I removed the fixator and put an interlocking nail and bone graft at the fracture site. I just, of course, small incision I made at the fracture site to put the bone graft around.
Yeah, but so
That's
that's
a
what.
close
That is
way.
okay. I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm just
Argue
saying-
against that, but
Because
just the
you
bone
are
grafting
doing-
there would
you
have
are
also
doing-
done the
I
trick.
think you are doing probably maximum fixator system, real fixator system. That's your. What's your
I would bone graft it.
only bone graft?
Yeah.
And you will continue the fixator even after. How long you can wait with the fixator? That's exactly my question is. You see, he came with after 8 months. 8 months he waited.
Yeah, but he came after 8 months because the appropriate thing was not done at the appropriate time. Once docking has occurred, you would expect, say, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you need to see something there. If nothing is happening there, then I would go and bone graft it at that time.
And that-
So then the patient is not going to come back to me at
That
8
is
months.
Exactly when you expect the union should occur. Suppose you can wait up to
The
3
same
months.
time that you would expect it to heal after the nailing.
No, suppose after 3 months, you wait after 3 months. If you don't find any, because diaphyseal fracture, sometimes there is even atopic this vascularity is problem. So callus is not adequately formed normally. You see. So you after 3 months, if you don't, then you can put
Bone
the bone
graft.
graft.
Yes.
That is exact. Thank you.
So if at the corticotomy site the callus is dead, so do we need to compress it and let it then distract it, or just wait for some time and check it?
If callus is less at the corticotomy site, then one of those you have to see whether what is the reason it is less. Instability, inappropriate distraction, inappropriate monitoring. If you are still doing the distraction, then you have to wait for a little time before you and see that there is better regenerate before you start distracting. If you have already finished all the distraction and now you see that this is not ossifying well, then there are 2-3 things you can do. One is get the patient weight bearing well. 2, confirm that he is getting adequate intake of calcium and vitamin D. And 3, do a ultrasound to be sure that there is no cyst inside. Usually if it is not healing, then there will be a large cyst somewhere in the area of the regenerate, which doesn't allow bone to form. And if that is the case, then you need to bone graft it.
So,
Theoretically, there are other things which you can do, low intensity pulsed ultrasound, blah, blah, blah.
So, but a role of compression and then distraction.
In my opinion, 0. There are people who will say that the so-called accordion maneuver works. But if you look at it with a unjaundiced eye, you will see that the accordion maneuver, different people describe differently. What is the accordion? Meaning compress for how long? Then hold for how long? And then distract again for how long? So one fellow will say 5 days of compression, 2 days of holding, and then 3 days of distraction again, 3 days of... Each person has a different formula. Now what happens, this is like homeopathy. Patient comes to you and says की मला इथे दुखत होतं आणि मग मी होमिओपॅथी घेतलं आणि त्याच्याने ठीक झालं. होमिओपॅथी किती दिवस घेतलं? 6 महिने घेतले. 6 महिन्यात तर चला इट्स गोइंग टू गेट ऑल राइट एनीवे. सो ये अकॉर्डियन करते करते व्हाट हैज हैपेंड? Time has been spent, no? 2 months, say a month or so has gone. That's all I am saying, that wait for a little time and then start distraction again. So is it the accordion that's helping or is it the waiting that's helping? Question mark. The guys who like accordion say it helps. I say it doesn't.
So one more question. The corticotomy fragment has to travel 5 centimeters for 5 centimeters gap. Then do you do every follow-up you do skin release for that pin
No,
side?
no.
Nothing to be done for the pins.
No, if at all, what I do is on the day of surgery. One of the disadvantages, that's a good question, of this kind of fixator is the pins are not as good at cutting through soft tissue as the wires are. So what I do normally is, if this is the wire and this is the intended direction of travel of the wire, I will make an incision about couple of centimeters in this direction and suture it on the day of the application of the fixator. So that area then becomes a scar which gives way easily and patient has less pain, etc. Even otherwise it gives way, but sometimes patients have a little pain on that. But I don't need to make even if I have not done that, for example, I don't need to make a skin incision.
There's a butterfly fragment and they remove it during the initial surgery and they do docking and one third of the bone is intact, say one half, but there is no one half bone at the other side
I would bone graft that.
of large bone, 40
Cancellous. Yeah, cancellous. I would do a cancellous bone grafting. Because you don't, that becomes a stress riser again. You have a large area of bone and then a thin bone, that's what you're saying. So even if it heals, after you take off the fixator, that can be a stress riser. So I would prefer to have a good gradual this thing.
we don't have that much bone graft available. So in that case, do we cut it and make it again like a
If it's that large a defect कि bone graft नहीं जाएगा तो then I will take off that other bone which is there is useless manje. Take it off and do a transport.
Now this will be the last question. What time is it now?
So what type of lens can you use? A tapered one or simple one? Tapered threads or simple one?
I do not use simple Shan's pins at all except to put the bone on the clamp. Huh?
Now there is a situation in conical pins, the shine pins. The problem is one does not get the feel of the opposite cord when it hits, and somehow your image is not working. Is there any tactic to know whether you are
Ensure that the image is always working.
somehow sir, it fails intra-op, then
Intra-op, if it fails, how many times has that happened to you? You are which year now?
I'm final year.
How many times has that happened to you?
Somehow
How many times has that happened to you? Tell me now.
sometimes due to some technical vision.
How many times? Answer my question. You are evading it. That means your Siam in your boss is sitting here. That means your Siam is not of the appropriate quality. If it happens that frequently, but if it happens, at the worst, what you can do is leave it a little short. Do an X-ray a couple of days later and put it in. When you have put in enough tapered Shan screws, you do get a feel of this thing. I get a feel. I know when I am more or less at the opposite cortex. Once it is compressed, we continue compression till the patient complains of pain at the docking site, which is supposed to be an indication of necrosis which is occurring. And once that has happened, then we stop. Usually it's about 5 to 7 mm of compression.
Now,
Last part we'll do.
lecture